bada bing. That's my trademark. I can't whistle for the life of me. I can't replicate that. I don't know. You guys can try.
I can't whistle.
I can't whistle.
Damn. Oh well. Welcome back to Always Sunny in Hollywood, where this was supposed to be a Thanksgiving movie, but as we are currently recording this, it is already past Thanksgiving, so oops! Oh well, what can you really do? My name is Lugia, and my two friends are...
My name is Patrick, and I enjoy me a good game of Whackbat.
I am Red Drum Arts. I am an animal. I'm a furry. No, I'm shit. Okay, that was a bad joke.
Alright, so not too much happened this week. In fact, we only really have two stories to talk about. So, we're going to keep things nice and focused this episode. So start with some small news. Paramount announced that their upcoming animated film Rumble, which was supposed to be theatrically released next year, will instead be releasing next month exclusively on Paramount Plus. Have you guys heard of Rumble before?
No.
No.
You have
Rumble
Paramount
is...
Plus, though, right?
No, I don't. But Rumble is like an upcoming wrestling... It's like a WWE movie with, like, monsters.
Oh, wait. No, I have heard of Rumble. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think Will Arnett's in it.
Yeah, I don't think that looks good, but okay.
No,
cool.
this is a first for me.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the trailer when we saw the Sonic movie.
Yeah, this was like years ago though. Like I remember this
when we
was
saw it in
wild.
theaters together.
Yeah, when we saw it in theaters.
I don't
Like
remember
2
that.
years back. No, I remember it now. I was just like, damn, that was such a long time ago. I thought the movie already came out.
Now, here's the thing. It was supposed to come out back at the beginning of the year, but because of the pandemic, they pushed it to next year. But for whatever reason, Paramount decided, let's just put it on the streaming service next month. And I bring this up because the movie comes out December 15th, less than a month from now. And I'm like, where's the marketing?
December 15th when my school ends. Cool.
No, because it was supposed to come out mid-February, and there's like not a lot of family competition mid-February, but like the middle of December, you got a bunch of stuff. So
yeah,
it's better than January.
What kid's gonna be like, you know what? I don't want to see the new Spider-Man movie. I want to see some I want to see Pokemon, but like without any of the Pokemon I know.
I don't know. I just want to bring that up because this is the day and age we live in where movies are kind of coming out like in 3 weeks.
Yep.
And we're just hearing about it.
Okay.
But that's the small bit of news.
I got some news too. I got some news too.
You frustrate me. I wanted to keep this focused. 2 stories. Come on.
Okay. But Matthew McConaughey has ruled out running for Texas governor. That's just kind of funny because apparently he was gonna be running before, but he's now announced that he's not. Unfortunately, we won't have Matthew McConaughey as president.
Cool movie news.
Also, apparently George Clooney had a near-death experience or something. I don't know.
Well, that is related.
Anyway, the big news that happened this past week is that legendary composer and lyricist Stephen Sondheim has unfortunately passed away at 91 years old.
And I know this has deeply affected you, Patrick.
This is huge news because Stephen Sondheim is an absolute legend. Like he wrote the music for some of like the most beloved Broadway shows ever made.
Yeah, like West Side Story and shit too.
Yeah, he did the lyrics for West Side Story. Leonard Bernstein did the music, from what I remember.
Yeah, but I think West Side was like his first thing that he worked on.
One of his first. He also did music for Sweeney Todd, Follies, Into the Woods. Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. A whole bunch of beloved shows. So he reached like a level that very few managed to reach, like in the realm of theater. So at least he lived like a good full life.
Yes.
He certainly got his name out there. That's pretty respectable.
I imagine that at the end of the credits for the new West Side Story, it's gonna say like in memory of.
Yeah, probably.
More than likely.
So I don't know how many of you know much about fashion, but famous fashion designer Virgil Abloh has passed away at age 41. Okay.
Yeah, I vaguely heard something about that. I don't really know the world of fashion, but I did hear about this.
Yeah,
I do not
apparently he was
know
one
who
of
this person is, but that is very unfortunate. I am sorry for those who are affected by it.
yeah, apparently he was one of the most influential black designers. Worked with a lot of famous people, including Kanye. Like, so yeah, that was a real shame. And I guess last bit of news is apparently Jack Dorsey is stepping down as CEO of Twitter. So that's something I
Okay.
don't
All
know.
right, we got it. 2 news out of the way.
Well, technically,
The 2 times
or
2.
maybe five.
5.
I don't know. The point is, not a lot of news this week, which
Yeah.
good for us, so we can keep this focused. So, Lugia, tell us a little bit about Fantastic Mr. Fox.
All right. So, Fantastic Mr. Fox was a film released in 2009. Fuck, it's been that long.
Only 12 years.
Yeah, I saw this movie when I was like still in the single digits though. That hits me on an emotional level.
I saw
Yes.
this movie in theaters. I'm
Yep.
proud to say that.
And I'm 90% certain I saw it with you in theaters, but he's saying that we didn't.
I distinctly remember I saw this with my family.
Maybe we saw it twice. Who knows? I
No,
remember
I
I saw
seeing
it
think
it.
once.
I saw it twice at home.
I
don't think
remember
I ever saw it in
seeing movies,
theaters.
Red. I remember my movie-going experiences very vividly.
All right. Well, we both saw it, and you know that I saw it because we did the Whackbat bit. But yeah.
I know that we've seen this movie together, but it wasn't in theaters.
Yeah. Okay.
That's besides the point. The point is this movie came out 2009.
And this was
Yeah.
directed by Wes Anderson. Would you happen to have a resume of what else he's done?
Yeah, so
Uh,
Wes Anderson is one of my favorite directors. I've seen pretty much all of his movies. I think I've only missed out on his most recent stuff, and I think Darjeeling Unlimited and Steve Zissou. But everything else I've seen, he is probably the indie world's most one of the indie world's most prolific directors. Apparently, all of his movies are good. All the movies I've seen of him are good for sure. And he's known for having one of the most distinctive styles of any director. It's incredibly symmetrical, got bold pastel colors, lots of smooth camera movements, lots of references to old Hollywood and theater,
Yeah, like-
especially in the way everything's kind of designed.
Like you'll know when you're watching a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, he's one of those he's like Tim Burton where he's got almost his style is like immediately recognizable.
Yeah.
I would say like
the only other film I've seen from him is Isle of Dogs. I am
you've seen
curious.
all of his animated
I
work,
need to
though.
check out
I am
what
curious
he's done.
to check out Grand Budapest Hotel though.
Yeah, okay.
That
So
looks
I would
interesting.
say that there's 2 distinctive eras of Wes Anderson, or I guess 3 distinctive eras of Wes Anderson. So his first 2 works are where his style was pretty relatively light, and then from Royal Tenenbaums until Fantastic Mr. Fox, that's when his style started to find his grounding. And then once he did Fantastic Mr. Fox, his style became like almost like super saturated because once he worked in animation, I think that changed his like whole approach to filmmaking a bit because everything from this onward has changed, has been quite distinct. I would say, not to get ahead of myself, but this is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. The stuff he made like immediately after, I think, is also like just some of his best work.
Yeah, I'm looking at his list, and Fantastic Mr. Fox is the only film of his that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I find it interesting like the work around this one and his earliest work are the ones I like the most, but then like there's all the ones in the middle which I apparently I haven't seen much of, but yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Which, if you didn't know, this was based off of a book written
Oh,
by you might be
Roald
familiar
Dahl.
with the name Roald Dahl. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, so not his first stop motion adaptation too, but a
Actually,
very different style of stop motion.
Out of curiosity, have you guys read the book? Because I have.
No, I haven't.
I have, yes, I actually read it earlier this year after I rewatched it, and I was curious.
I read it not long after I first saw the movie.
Different, but not that different.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
As far as I know, the movie was primarily focused around the second act, and the beginning and the end of the movie were completely original scenes. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The end was, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
The beginning, obviously, but that was just more setup. So
Let's put it this way. The book ends where the middle of the movie is. Like when they're underground about to have their big feast, that's where the book ends. So the
Okay.
entire third act is completely original.
This movie had a $40 million budget and grossed about $46.5 million, which isn't a significant boost, but I guess it's something. It's somewhat successful, just like not as successful as they hoped it would be.
No, apparently it underperformed, but yeah.
Don't movies need to make back like double their budget in order to like be profitable?
Yeah, but some indie stuff has like not as much. So like something like Wes Anderson movie doesn't need to make as much. But yeah, this did still underperform. But obviously, it's a Wes Anderson movie, so it became a cult classic. So you don't really need to worry about it financially. 93% Rotten Tomatoes though, so critically acclaimed.
Yeah, it did see some
Won,
pretty good scores at the very least.
won a few awards, so not bad, not bad.
Yeah, it won Best Writing in a Feature Film in the Annie Awards, Best Actor in the New York Film Critics Circle, and Best Adaptation in San Francisco Bay Area Film Critics Circle.
And it
There's
was
definitely a
nominated.
couple more, but those are the things of note that I put down.
It was also nominated at the Oscars for Best Animated Film and Best Original Score, though it lost both to Up.
Oh shit, that was the same year?
Yes.
2009.
Huh.
And also, one other thing of
God,
note
I
is
feel
that
old.
One other thing of
Whoa.
note is that this is one of 2 animated films to be released on the Criterion Collection. The other being
What's the other
Akira.
one?
Akira.
Akira. Okay.
Pretty, pretty cool.
I would have expected like Beauty and the Beast or something being there too. All right, interesting.
And one more thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the cast, because I was pretty surprised with some of the casting here. Obviously, you have George Clooney as Mr. Fox.
Meryl Streep as Felicity Fox.
Yeah. What caught
we
me
got-
off guard was that Willem Dafoe was in this movie, and he
Yeah,
played the rat.
I
Really?
never knew that, and I've seen this movie many times.
Yeah, I
never
just
knew he
learned
was
that
the rat.
yesterday. I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
Okay, see, those didn't surprise me because Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray, Willem Dafoe, Owen Wilson, those are like Wes Anderson regulars. They're in like
I knew
almost all
Bill
of his
Murray
movies
was
now.
a Wes Anderson regular. I didn't know about the rest, though.
Owen Wilson is, how do I put it? Owen Wilson is like Bruce Campbell to Sam Raimi, where they were literally childhood friends, as in like Owen Wilson acted in all of Wes's early movies and also like co-wrote some of his movies.
And I do know
Yeah.
Owen Wilson is in his latest movie, French Dispatch. I've not seen that movie, but I do know he's in it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Owen Wilson is like not only good friends with Wes Anderson, but he wrote like several of Wes's movies. Like Owen Wilson wrote The Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, and Bottle Rocket, which are I think Wes's first 3 movies.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I think other than Scott Pilgrim, this is the only other movie that we've seen Jason Schwartzman in so far.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I've seen more. Let's see. What
I-
other movies was Jason Schwartzman
I
in?
honestly don't keep track.
Oh, okay. I've seen him in a lot of movies, but almost all of them were Wes Anderson movies. So
And speaking of Wes Anderson, he himself played the Weasel.
yes, I was about to mention that. Yep.
I guess to start, like, what the book is a very simple story. It's just a fox who steals food from 3 farmers to supply for his family. The farmers get tired of it, so they decide to dig him out of his hole, which causes the entire, like, civilization of the animals to be destroyed. But they make a tunnel system between the 3 farmers' farms to supply food for themselves, and they decide, hey, you know what? We'll live underground. And more or less, that is the plot of the movie. But it adds in a whole bunch of new elements, to make it feature length. For example, in the movie, Mr. Fox secretly steals from the farmers because his wife doesn't want him to steal food anymore after what happened to them a long time ago. And eventually, the farmers realize that Mr. Fox has been stealing from them while they've been trying to dig him out, so they decide to flood him out, and now they live in the sewers. That's basically the big main differences between the two. So it's a fox who steals from farmers, and shit goes down, basically.
I found it interesting. I'm not surprised that this is the Roald Dahl book that Wes Anderson decided to adapt because it definitely fits theme-wise with a lot of his other work, especially like the whole dysfunctional family thing. That's very like Royal Tenenbaum like for people familiar with Wes Anderson. Like I'd say this movie feels like Furry the Royal Tenenbaums a bit mixed with like Bottle Rocket, which was also a heist movie. So like It feels like a sort of a best of almost everything Wes Anderson's done to this point, but done in like this neat style.
I'm not gonna constantly bring up comparisons to the book, but I've always been surprised that like every review I've seen for this movie never brings up how different it is from the book.
Maybe they
Like
just
I
never
know
read the book.
maybe, but like I know like you need to like stretch out like children's books to make them like feature length. Like the only other like children's book I can think of that has like a whole bunch of differences is like the two Grinch movies. Because the Grinch basically it's not until the third act where it actually resembles the book. Whereas here
Yeah.
it's only the middle that is exactly like the book. I mean, a lot of the stuff they add in works. It works really well. But I've always been like so surprised at how much is different.
Well,
Like
listen, the best Grinch adaptation is a half-hour long, and movies have to be at least an hour and a half long. So yeah,
I know.
they gotta make up a
I
lot
get
of material.
like I said, I get why you need to add in stuff to make it feature length. But I've always been surprised with this one because the plot of the book I do think is simple enough where it could be its own movie.
Yeah, but obviously, you hand it to a director like Wes Anderson, he's gonna try to do something different with it.
Like a good amount of the rat wasn't in the book, Kylie wasn't in the book, Christopherson wasn't in the book. Mr. Fox had 3 unnamed kids in the book, and there was no subplot with one of them wanting to be an athlete. And again, in the book, his wife was supportive of him stealing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
I'll be honest, I
gotta add
actually
some more
like what they
drama.
did with the characters in this movie.
Again, I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying there are so many differences that like are never brought up.
Yeah, I
that
don't
I'm
have that
surprised at.
perspective of reading the
No.
book, but I think standalone, this is fine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, no, I think this movie is fantastic. Yeah, that was
Uh-huh.
actually not an intentional pun. I,
But you made it one.
yeah.
This movie is delightful.
Apparently Henry Selick worked on it early on. You know, you know Henry Selick, James
Mhm.
and the Giant Peach, Coraline. So yeah,
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah.
yeah. Because apparently he worked on on Wes's previous movie, The Life Aquatic. He worked on him with that. So yeah, interesting.
Well, on the subject of the animation, I guess we could talk about that. This movie is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised the art style has held up super well after 10 years.
I'm not.
I mean, there's a couple things that I don't really like about it, primarily when Mr. Fox kind of grins and shows his teeth. That kind of looks ugly. Other than that, I really like what they did with how this movie looks.
This is Fall the movie, like the colors and everything.
There's a lot of orange and brown, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it definitely has like a perfect color choice. Um, okay, so I've often said this feels like the most Wes Anderson movie, but also the least Wes Anderson movie, because stylistically it feels like more symmetrical, more like perfectly planned than his other stuff, but it also feels just a lot more like natural, just because of like the autumn colors and all the dirts and like the fact it's a bit more messy. Even like the dialogue and the way it was acted felt a bit more naturalistic compared to some of his other work. I'm guessing it's because they did record a lot of this like actually outside. So Wes just found like real life environments like this and then stuck the microphone there and had the characters basically act it out. Very similar like how Rango, you guys remember Rango. So yeah, they kind of recorded the audio in a similar way where they just did it like in actual real life environments, but then like they'd use the audio for the animated stuff. So that was
From what I read, they actually recorded the dialogue first before they started the animation.
Yeah, they did. They do that for all animated works.
They do? I
Yes.
thought
Well,
they
for
did
lip syncing.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to lip sync after the fact. I think the only exception was like Shrek, but that was like CGI. Like
Well, evidently I know nothing about the animation process and I feel ashamed of that.
yeah, no, lip syncing is generally one of the first things done. That's why like there's an entire version of the movie Cars. Like there's a whole second version of that movie that's just storyboards and like the audio fully recorded, and then they had to people come in and re-record it. Same with like the Chris Farley Shrek. Like they had the Chris Farley version, then they had to completely redo it with
Shit,
Mike
now I
Myers.
really feel like an idiot because I knew this.
Yeah. You know, I find it interesting that like this was animated by like the people that did Corpse Bride and stuff, because this really does not feel like any other anime movie I've seen. It doesn't feel like, Coraline or the Burton related stuff.
Well,
That's
it it is Wes Anderson, so it is different.
Yeah. It's just
No,
like
it is.
even
It
like
is
the
hand
models,
motion different.
like the models feel. It just feels completely different. Like the models all feel obviously feel different. I like the detail where like even like when the characters are just standing, they animate the fur, so it looks like
Yeah.
yeah, it's a nice detail.
Which is interesting because like a lot of stop motion films don't really use fur because it's kind of a bitch.
But Wes Anderson likes that stuff. He likes that. He likes
Overall,
furries.
I guess it's to help make the
Yeah.
character models feel more alive in their environment, so they're not like
Yeah.
walking
Yeah, no, that's
taxidermied
exactly it.
animals.
No, that's like exactly it. That's what he said. Actually, that's the exact reason why he did that. Well, how'd you think of the soundtrack?
There were like 3 or 4 original songs.
Mhm.
I think they were good. I can't
Okay,
really
what'd you think
remember
with the
them off the top of my head
non-original songs?
though.
The overall score of this movie is actually great. Like I love the banjo.
It
that they
fits.
use.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for the banjo.
yeah, and they also have some pop songs in there. Beach
They
Boys,
got
Rolling
Beach Boys in there,
Stones.
which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I forgot that was in there. Like I knew like they had pop songs. I did not remember them having Beach Boys.
Yeah. I like the recurring motif of the wolf. Is that what it
Oh,
was?
yeah.
The wolf?
Yeah.
I like that recurring motif quite a bit. Also, I just feel like all the drama and the sort of arcs were pretty good. Christopherson's little arc was pretty good. I like that sort of exchange that Mr. Fox has with his wife a couple times. I like his just sort of growth and arc.
Yeah.
I think all the arcs are incredibly solid.
And there really isn't much to complain about with this film.
Not really.
Which I was surprised, because I thought I would go into this like every other somewhat animated film that we've talked about and be like, oh, this was good when I was a kid, but looking back,
Oh,
it's
no,
not really
I
that great.
think
No, this holds up tremendously well.
This movie's better than when I saw it as a kid, mostly because like I feel like I didn't get everything as a kid, but
Yeah,
now
same
I'm like,
here.
oh no, like because even though this movie's like PG and it was based off a book that was intended for kids, this feels like a movie that was made for adults, kid friendly but made for adults, like something like Ratatouille.
It's more grounded than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing I was surprised. I forgot how fast paced this movie is. Like it just keeps moving, like in a good way. In a good way.
I like how they swear a lot in this movie, but they just replace the swears with the word cuss.
With cuss, yes. Oh, it's great.
That's how you keep that PG rating.
I find it interesting, despite how unconventional it is, it still does end with the traditional dance sequence that every animated film has. So, yeah.
We could talk about like the
Him
voiceovers
losing.
versus the voice performances.
Oh,
all great
Obviously,
stuff.
the voice cast was really great. George Clooney kills it in his role.
George Clooney does such a good job that I've always felt that every Fox I've heard since, animated Fox I've heard since, has been trying to do his voice. Like in Zootopia, Jason Bateman, he's not sounding like how he normally does. I feel like Jason Bateman's intentionally trying to make his voice sound more like Clooney's in Zootopia.
You guys notice how with certain transitions they give like a certain amount of years, that sometimes it's Fox years?
Yeah. Him losing his tail was a nice little visual metaphor.
Yeah. And I do know that I do know the title cards are also like a Wes Anderson thing.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Because Isle of Dogs had that as well.
Ironic, but I feel this is Wes Anderson's most human movie, even though this is about talking animals. Yeah. All the villains are good. I feel like we haven't talked about them.
Bean.
All the farmers.
That's the only name I remember.
August Bunsen Bean. One fat, one short, one lean. These horrible crooks so different in looks, but nonetheless equally mean. Hey.
Yeah. The comedy was really good in this, actually.
I liked a lot of the visual humor too. You remember that security room?
Yeah.
And how you could see Fox and the other character, I forget his name. They like go through different rooms, and each camera follows them in order.
Yeah, all the shots are really inventive. Like out of all the movies we've seen, like this and maybe like The Matrix probably had the most inventive shots, I think.
There's a lot of great jokes in here. One of my favorites was always the bit where they're picking the lock on the door, and Mr. Fox asks Kylie for a card. He gives him a titanium card. He's like, "How are you eligible for this?" He's like, "I pay my bills on time." Like it's such a random bit, but it's funny.
Yeah, this is actually two of my friends' favorite movies ever. That's interesting. Yeah,
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's great.
It's fantastic. Hey, okay.
We already made that joke.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm gonna do it like the ending of that really shitty Fantastic Four movie where they never say Fantastic Four. At the end of the movie, like Miles Teller is like, or no, the thing is like, wow, look at this place, it's fantastic. And Miles Teller's like, say that again, and then they smash the credits. I'm like, fucking awful movie. But yeah.
I've never seen that movie, but weirdly, that's like one of the things I know about it.
Oh, that's because it got memed to death like earlier last year. Like everyone's just making fun of that. Like it's such a hack line.
I guess one more thing of
Okay.
note from my end is that there's a Thanksgiving scene, so this could have worked on Thanksgiving.
It's
We were just a
it
little
is
too
why
late
you
for
picked
that.
it?
Oops.
This is basically a Thanksgiving movie. It's set in autumn with all the autumn colors, and it's about these guys trying to make a big feast
Yeah, I'd say like this
and about the value of family and friends.
this is probably one of the most explicit Thanksgiving movies, up there with like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
The Thanksgiving movie that never says Thanksgiving, so it's
Yeah.
secretly a Thanksgiving movie.
I find it
Hee hee.
absolutely. By the way, I find it absolutely fascinating how weird George Clooney's career is. Because, guess what movie he made like right before this one? Burn After Reading.
Oh yeah, because that was 2008. This was 2009.
Yeah, I mean he also did this movie called The Men Who Stare at Goats. The
I've
same
heard
year.
of that movie.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's basically like a Coen brother movie, but like bad.
I don't know anything about it. I just know that it exists. Yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's great. It's funny. It's beautifully animated. There's really not a whole lot wrong with it.
One of my personal favorite movies, and if I was to give like a final score, I would say it is a 10 out of 10.
I'd give it a 9 out of 10. There's a couple works to go around, but overall, I'm very pleased that this movie was a lot better than I thought it would be.
And I don't do number scores, but I would definitely agree with you guys. It's
Yeah,
great.
this is like I think top 5, one of the best movies we've seen.
I'd put
on the
it like in top
podcast.
20.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we've only seen like 30.
Is that above or below?
No, I
The
mean in
Room?
my personal list, not like for this
Oh,
whole podcast.
no, I meant top 5 for the podcast. In my
This would
personal
be
list, I
top
have no
10
idea.
for the podcast.
Nice again. Is that above or below The Room?
I
Above.
don't remember. All right,
All right.
but Patrick, I believe it's your turn to recommend.
Yeah. Oh wait. Don't I usually do the?
Right,
Okay.
right,
So
right.
if you like Fantastic Mr. Fox, the Wes Anderson movie I would most recommend is The Royal Tenenbaums. So check out The Royal Tenenbaums if you like this. I would also recommend Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom, as those are most stylistically similar to this one. Yep.
Okay.
That's about it. Also check
Actually,
out
guys,
like
wait,
the
I just
Taika
realized
Waititi
something.
movie, Hunt for the Wilder People. I don't know.
Guys, I just realized something. We
Yeah.
never actually talked about the Whackbat scene.
Oh
even
yeah.
Even though that's like one of the biggest jokes among us, like it serves like no point to anything. It's just kind of there for flavor.
All right, well,
So basically
Patrick, how
instead
do you
of,
play Whackbat?
There's a twig runner. There's a player at Whackbat. There's I don't know, but the twig runners you light the pine cone. You hit it, and then the twig runners dash back and forth. You try to knock the cedar stick off the cross rock. Then you call hotbox, and however many points that is, you divide it by 9. Something along those lines.
Man,
it's been a while.
I was hoping you'd memorize that by heart.
It's kind of like Blurns Ball from Futurama, where it's like the most insane shit.
Or like Calvin Ball from Calvin and Hobbes, I guess.
No, Calvin and Ball is a very simple game because the only rule is that you can't have the same rule twice.
Anyway, enough beating around the bush. It's my turn.
Yes.
All right, so gentlemen, it's the holiday season.
Yes.
whoop-de-doo,
Time for
hickory
Christmas
dock.
movies.
Don't forget to hang up your sock, all that stuff.
I think this is
Yeah.
the first Christmas we're celebrating on the podcast. So hell yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
So yeah, I have selected a Christmas movie. Big shock. But not just a Christmas movie, a Christmas musical. But not
What a
just.
shock.
This
But
could
not
go
just
one of 2 different ways.
I promise you, it's not going the way you think it is. But it's not just a Christmas musical. It's a horror Christmas musical. Now, I'm sure a certain other stop-motion film comes to mind when I say that.
Yes.
But no, I'm not actually going that direction. Now, this is a movie...
The fuck? The fuck?
What?
The fuck?
No.
Nah, I'm kidding.
No. This is a movie I've been curious to check out the past few years, but never got around to it. So, why not do it now? and I'm bringing you guys along with me. So, for next episode, we're going to be seeing what happens when the undead invade Christmas with Anna and the Apocalypse.
Huh, I don't think I've heard of that movie.
Nor have
Yeah,
I.
it's not a very well-known movie. It came out just a few years ago, but
Yeah, okay,
I've been curious about it.
2017. Alright, and in the Apocalypse. 2017. Cool.
Technically got a wide release in 2018, so...
So
Whatever.
how is this Christmas related? Is it like
It's
just
Oh,
the
no,
setting?
it's a Christmas movie.
From what I understand, it's about a town that gets invaded by zombies on Christmas.
I mean, I'm looking at
I've
the
not seen
poster
it.
and it's a Christmas tree and there's a lady holding a giant candy cane. So, yeah, I think this is Christmas.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie. I haven't seen it, but it's a Christmas movie.
A zombie apocalypse threatens the sleepy town of Little Haven at Christmas.
Hey, whoa, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I mean, this is the plot synopsis. I doubt
I
they'd
know, but we'll
spoil
get there.
something in the plot
We'll
synopsis.
get there. We'll
Yeah.
get there.
That's odd. I've been looking up like the best zombie movies of the 2010s. This one never gets brought up. Interesting. All right.
Could it be
We'll
I
see.
found a movie you've never heard of in your life?
Oh yeah, I've never heard of this ever.
Oh my god, I feel so accomplished.
And it
Yeah.
took 33 episodes.
This is a proud moment for me.
I mean, I thought I didn't hear of Furry Vengeance, but then you're like, no, I have like photographic evidence of you seen it. And I was like, oh,
This is different. I mean like a movie you've actually never heard of.
yeah. All right, cool.
Alright. Close us out, Lugia.
Trademark go. Bada bing.